A Chinese research team has set out for the highest location in Antarctica, the Kunlun station, to carry out a 2-month inland expedition.
Antarctica is often called Earth's last frontier, a frozen wilderness where temperatures plummet to 80 below and silence stretches across 5 million square miles of ice. For years, satellites and explorers have detected strange patterns beneath that endless white, signs of something no ordinary geology can explain. When a team of Chinese scientists ventured deeper than ever before, their instruments registered impossible readings, metallic echoes, magnetic pulses, and traces of unknown biological material suspended in ice. What they found shook their mission to its core and raised a haunting question. What sleeps beneath Antarctica's frozen veil? The strange Antarctic anomaly. Antarctica is a land of extremes, locked beneath a blanket of ice more than 2 miles thick, where conditions seem utterly hostile to life or human presence. Yet beneath this vast frozen desert, scientists have detected something that defies easy explanation: repeated radar signals and magnetic fluctuations that don't fit known natural patterns. These mysterious echoes emerged from deep under the ice, hinting at a structure or phenomenon unlike any normal geological formation. Instruments repeatedly recorded smooth, curved radar reflections that looked as if they bounced off a metallic surface rather than jagged rock. What puzzled researchers even more were sudden spikes in magnetic readings whenever the radar pulses targeted the same coordinates. These magnetic surges were severe enough to interfere with sensitive equipment, causing brief shutdowns of scientific instruments and communication systems. The disturbances were always linked to this particular anomaly, a signal source buried beneath kilometers of ice. With every scan, the shape stayed consistent, a near-perfect dome spanning close to the size of a football stadium. This was no accident or data glitch. Something active was concealed under Antarctica's frozen crust. Initial theories ranged widely, from an ancient meteorite encased in ice to a cavern filled with unusual mineral deposits. But none fully explained the perfect symmetry or the powerful magnetic interference. The anomaly repeatedly emitted signals in steady pulses, rhythmic and deliberate, unlike anything seen in natural formations. Some engineers suggested the structure reflected radar beams as if designed to do so, sparking internal debates about whether it could be artificial. This raised questions that many scientists found unsettling. Could Antarctica be hiding a secret far beyond ordinary science? The team's concern grew as these manifestations seemed to defy the frozen permanence of the continent. Antarctica's bedrock and ice sheet typically show stable magnetic signatures, so anything causing sharp fluctuations suggested an unknown source of power or energy beneath the ice. Such activity was unprecedented, especially in such a remote and forbidding place. For the scientists on the ground, the anomaly was not just a scientific curiosity. It was a phenomenon that challenged their understanding of Earth's geology and natural history. Despite repeated attempts to dismiss these readings as equipment errors or natural interference from shifting ice or volcanic rocks, the anomaly persisted with a consistency that demanded attention. The Chinese research team documented each strange reflection and magnetic spike, but remained cautious, unwilling to jump to conclusions without further evidence. Yet the growing volume of data suggested a discovery that could have profound implications for how we understand Antarctica and possibly
Earth itself. Compounding the mystery was the isolation of the signal to a specific region named Anomaly G1, located in the Gambortsev subglacial mountains, an area so remote and hidden that it remained largely unexplored until these investigations. This mountain range was first detected decades ago by radar, yet no one had been able to fully map or understand what lurked beneath. Now, as this anomaly emerged clearly on the scientists' instruments, it became impossible to ignore. As the expedition prepared for a deeper investigation, the atmosphere turned tense.
Communication blackouts and sudden equipment failures occurred whenever the radar focused on the anomaly, adding to the unease. Some team members spoke quietly among themselves, expressing fears never openly stated. What if this was not just a geological oddity, but something active and potentially dangerous? The unknown they had uncovered seemed to possess a presence rather than being a mere object. The initial discovery hinted at something vast and compelling beneath the Antarctic ice, something that challenged reality, pushing the limits of known science. While the true nature of this anomaly remained out of reach, the signals beckoned toward answers that would change the way we think about the planet's frozen continent. But to understand how this discovery unfolded, it's important to look back at the history of human exploration and technology that finally brought these secrets to light. With unanswered questions hanging in the bitter Antarctic air, the mystery of what lay beneath the ice was far from settled. The most astonishing revelations were still to come. Beneath this icy veil, decades of exploration had already begun to peel back Antarctica's deepest secrets. History of Antarctica exploration. For centuries, Antarctica was the last blank spot on the map, a forbidding wilderness that defied human settlement and exploration. Even early maps carried warnings like "Here be monsters," symbolizing the fear and mystery surrounding the continent. The sheer isolation and brutality of the environment meant that for a long time no reason existed to venture deeply into this frozen desert. Military aircraft struggled to land amid winds reaching 85 meters per hour, and the sun doesn't set for months, making survival difficult for explorers. Despite these challenges, early radar and gravity measurements in the 1950s began to hint at something extraordinary. Though equipment was rudimentary and often unreliable, these first attempts revealed strange subsurface patterns inaccessible to earlier explorers. The data detected anomalies beneath the ice, including irregular magnetic fields and unusual underground formations that lacked clear geological explanations. These glimpses raised eyebrows among scientists, but were mostly catalogued and forgotten amid Cold War tensions and other global priorities. It was in the 1970s that technological advancements, largely fueled by military innovation, allowed researchers to map Antarctica's hidden landscape with far greater precision. Sophisticated radar systems penetrated ice layers, exposing buried craters and mountain ranges that had been invisible to satellites and ground surveys. Some of these craters spanned hundreds of kilometers across, pointing to massive asteroid or comet impacts from Earth's deep past. The exploration created a new picture of Antarctica, far richer and more complex than a lifeless ice sheet. One such discovery was an enormous crater, roughly 482 kilometers in diameter, buried 1.5 kilometers beneath the ice. The scale was staggering, rivaling some of the largest known impact craters on the planet. Researchers began questioning what other secrets might lie hidden under miles of ice, beyond the reach of casual observation. Control over Antarctic research was seen as a strategic advantage, with the United States, Russia, and European countries establishing research stations across the continent. Yet even by the turn of the century, the picture beneath the ice remained incomplete. Amid this backdrop of expanding exploration and geopolitical intrigue, China made its entry onto the Antarctic stage. In 1980, China joined the Antarctic Treaty System and began sending scientific expeditions aimed at gaining experience in polar research. Its initial efforts were humble: a cargo ship hastily retrofitted for polar conditions, a crew with limited cold weather training. But these early missions laid the groundwork for something much bigger. China's first permanent foothold came in the form of Great Wall Station on King George Island, constructed in just 40 days despite extreme weather and sub-zero temperatures. Over the following decades, China expanded its presence inland, strategically placing new stations around the Gamburtsev Range, signaling a calculated push into East Antarctica's most mysterious regions. With each new station, China improved its technological capabilities, preparing for more ambitious scientific ventures. The history of Antarctica's exploration, filled with Cold War secrets and relentless human endurance, set the stage for the astonishing discoveries that would later emerge beneath the ice. What China found there, decades into its research, challenged all that was previously known and opened a new chapter in humanity's understanding of the planet's final frontier. The increasingly sophisticated investigations by Chinese researchers brought fresh urgency to unsolved questions about what was lurking in the shadows beneath the ice. China's Antarctic ambitions. China's journey into Antarctic research began in 1980 when it formally joined the Antarctic Treaty System, signaling a commitment to peaceful scientific exploration. Initially lacking specialized polar equipment, experience, and ice-breaking ships, China accepted an invitation to join Australian expeditions to gain early exposure to the extreme environment. These cooperative efforts provided valuable lessons, but also made it clear that China needed to develop independent capabilities to establish a permanent presence on the continent. By 1984, China launched its first independent Antarctic expedition using a hastily converted cargo ship, braving some of the continent's harshest conditions. The crew battled freezing temperatures below -40 degrees Celsius and severe storms, while relying on tents that often froze solid overnight. This mission tested their endurance to the limit, but succeeded in reaching King George Island, where China's first station, Great Wall Station, was quickly constructed. This outpost was not only a scientific facility, but a symbolic statement that China could survive and operate in one of the world's most hostile environments. Over the following decades, China expanded its presence inland, strategically placing new stations around the Gamburtsev Range, signaling a calculated push into East Antarctica's most mysterious regions. With each new station, China improved its technological capabilities, preparing for more ambitious scientific ventures. The history of Antarctica's exploration, filled with Cold War secrets and relentless human endurance, set the stage for the astonishing discoveries that would later emerge beneath the ice. What China found there, decades into its research, challenged all that was previously known and opened a new chapter in humanity's understanding of the planet's final frontier. The increasingly sophisticated investigations by Chinese researchers brought fresh urgency to unsolved questions about what was lurking in the shadows beneath the ice.
The continent's ice contained ancient climate records that could inform models of global warming and future environmental shifts. Mastering this information would provide tremendous geopolitical and scientific advantages amid worldwide climate concerns. Moreover, by establishing a strong foothold in East Antarctica, China effectively placed itself in direct competition with long-standing Antarctic research powers, adding a new dynamic to the international governance of the continent. This push emphasized China's ambition not only to broaden scientific understanding, but also to assert influence within this global commons. China's rising presence was marked by rapid technological improvements, from ice-breaking ships to state-of-the-art radar and drilling equipment, enabling expeditions deep into areas previously inaccessible. The Kunlun Station expedition was particularly noteworthy. It aimed to penetrate ice nearly 2 miles thick and map the bedrock below with precision radar arrays mounted on specialized tracked vehicles. Such capability represented a leap forward from earlier generations of polar exploration. This discovery, triggered by instruments at Kunlun Station, challenged every assumption about what Antarctica held beneath its icy shell, and hinted at a reality far stranger than any previous expedition had imagined. The frozen mystery beneath Antarctica was no longer a distant enigma, but an immediate and unnerving reality. The Kunlun Station expedition. In 2018, Chinese scientists initiated a mission at Kunlun Station aimed at venturing deeper into Antarctica's ice than ever before. Their goal was to map the bedrock beneath nearly 2 miles of ice using long-range radar arrays mounted on specialized tracked vehicles. These radar pulses were designed to reveal the density and composition of the ground hidden below, with researchers expecting only the uneven echoes typical of compressed ice and rocky terrain. Instead, the data returned an anomaly, a smooth, clear echo resembling a reflection off a metallic dome rather than fractured natural rock. Technicians initially suspected a malfunction. They recalibrated instruments, swapped transmitters, and adjusted frequencies multiple times, scanning the exact location repeatedly. Yet the signal persisted with unnerving consistency, always appearing in the same spot and maintaining its perfect curved shape. This anomaly covered a stretch several kilometers wide and was unlike anything previously recorded in Antarctica. The precision and regularity of the radar return puzzled the entire team, who began to suspect that the signal was not a random natural occurrence. As the scans continued, unexpected technical problems began to surface. Magnetic sensors near the tracking vehicles spiked sharply whenever the radar beams crossed the anomaly's coordinates. These magnetic fluctuations were beyond what the Antarctic bedrock could produce naturally. The interference started shutting down smaller scientific instruments, while power monitors across the camp showed brief voltage drops. Communications with nearby studies flickered as if someone or something was disrupting their signals. At first, the cold temperatures were blamed for wiring faults and power malfunctions, but thorough inspections revealed no mechanical or electrical damage. The malfunctions seemed to activate only when the radar targeted that specific area beneath the ice. The crew grew uneasy, wondering if the anomaly might be producing or reflecting an unknown form of energy. For several members of the team, the possibility that they had found something active rather than inert was deeply unsettling. Unable to solve the mystery on site, the field team sent all their raw data back to Beijing. Within days, scientists at the Chinese Academy of Sciences and the Polar Research Institute reviewed the readings and agreed that the anomaly defied conventional explanations.
They designated the location as Anomaly G1, positioned within the Gamburtsev subglacial mountain range. Measurements estimated the object's size to be roughly that of a football stadium and revealed internal cavities, suggesting an internal hollow structure rather than a solid mass. Debate within China's polar research community was intense. Some suggested the dome could be a meteorite shell preserved under ice, while others proposed it was a cavern of frozen minerals. However, engineers focused on the structure's unnerving symmetry and smoothness, arguing that its radar reflection was unlike any natural formation. One report allegedly stated the anomaly reflects as if designed to do so, hinting at the possibility of artificial origin. Uncertainty loomed over what they were truly facing beneath the ice. China's leadership responded with cautious urgency. The research directive was clear: confirm the anomaly's nature by drilling deeper than any prior Antarctic mission. Preparations began quickly, with plans to push beyond radar data to physical evidence. Meanwhile, the anomaly's repeated echo and presence in multiple datasets remained unexplained, fueling speculation about what might lie below and how it had remained hidden for so long. That year, a special deep ice expedition was assembled and rushed to Kunlun Station in the harsh Antarctic winter. The team faced extreme cold, working in short shifts as temperatures caused hydraulic fluids to freeze and tools to become brittle. Utilizing a modified thermal drilling rig, combining laser guidance and modular drills, they started melting their way down, meter by meter, through ancient ice layers, some not exposed to sunlight for millions of years. As they descended, radar and magnetic sensors monitored progress closely. Instead of weakening, the electromagnetic readings intensified, and a pulsing pattern emerged, beating steadily every few seconds. The metallic dome discovery. After nearly 4,000 meters of drilling, the sound of grinding ice abruptly changed to a sharp echo, signaling the presence of a hollow space. The team halted the descent and lowered a fiber optic camera into the borehole. The video feed shakily stabilized on an astonishing sight: a curved surface, smooth and metallic, coated in frost but reflecting light sharply in clean bands like a mirror trapped in ice. For several tense moments, silence fell over the team, and then the whisper spread. This was the dome they had seen on radar, now finally confirmed as a physical reality. This dome was massive, with dimensions far exceeding any known meteorite shell. Beijing's analysts rapidly confirmed the coordinates matched the anomaly G1 signature. With approval from authorities, the borehole was widened using heated plasma cutters, allowing cameras free movement to capture the dome's full extent. What they saw was unlike any natural formation. The dome extended beyond camera range, embedded layer upon layer in crystal-clear ice that was older than human history. Samples scraped from the dome's surface resisted melting even under direct heat, baffling the researchers. Portable spectrometers showed no matching spectral signatures in existing scientific records. The material was unlike anything earthly, suggesting an unknown mineral or artificial composition. Its perfect shape and reflective properties further deepened the mystery surrounding its origin and purpose. As drilling continued in the surrounding ice, sensors noted irregular voids and pockets inconsistent with homogeneous ice density. Extracted ice cores were not clear, but cloudy in places, with tiny pockets of liquid sealed within. Suspended in these pockets were thin strands resembling filaments, neither mineral veins nor simple cracks.
Initial impressions hinted at something organic, causing both fascination and unease among the scientists.
Within the field laboratory, these ice samples were partially thawed for closer examination under portable microscopes. One researcher observed subtle motions in the filaments, small twitches triggered by changes in light intensity. Repeated tests confirmed this was not an optical illusion or instrument error. The strands responded actively to environmental stimuli. This discovery challenged assumptions about life's limits on Earth, especially at such depths and ages. Further biological tests suggested the filaments were alive, behaving as if they were trying to follow the light beams. Genetic analysis using portable sequencers delivered a shock. The DNA sequences found did not match any known terrestrial organisms. They were more complex than bacteria or fungi and showed signs of engineered or otherwise unnatural design. The implications were profound. These could be remnants of ancient life forms or genetically distinct extremophiles isolated for millions of years. The lead scientist proposed a tentative explanation. The dome might emit a weak but steady heat or radiation sufficient to maintain small pockets of liquid water inside the ice, allowing these microbes to survive despite the extreme cold. This theory fit the observed conditions, but raised new fears. Could this micro-ecosystem be disturbed by human activity? The lifeblood of this frozen zone seemed fragile yet persistent. 2 days after initial sampling, the team noticed worrying changes. Several sealed vials containing the ice filaments began to show pressure spikes, with bubbles appearing and disappearing inside. When scrutinized under magnification, the microbial strands had multiplied, spreading even beyond their expected zones. Small patches of rust also appeared suddenly nearby tools, despite the equipment being dry and well maintained. From the chilling discovery of living filaments encased beside the dome to the outward signs of an awakening deep under the ice, the Antarctic enigma was moving beyond mystery into a dangerous reality. The awakening of ancient life. The moment the ice cores containing the thin filaments were thawed in the lab, the researchers noticed something unprecedented. The strands were moving. The subtle twitching, almost imperceptible at first, grew more pronounced when illuminated, as if the filaments were responding deliberately to light. This reaction stunned the team as it defied the common belief that nothing alive could endure frozen captivity beneath kilometers of ice for millions of years. The realization struck them. These were not inert particles, but living organisms somehow preserved deep within Antarctica's frozen vault. With growing urgency, the scientists conducted a series of biological tests, including DNA sequencing on site. The results were bewildering. The genetic material did not match any known earthly life form. The genes appeared complex and seemingly engineered rather than naturally evolved, suggesting a form of life radically different from anything classified by modern science. This discovery raised profound questions about the origins and evolution of life and whether these microbes belonged to Earth's biosphere or hinted at something far older or more mysterious. Some team members speculated that the filaments might be extremophiles, but even extreme adaptations seemed insufficient to explain their vitality after potentially millions of years sealed beneath ice. Others whispered that these filaments could be remnants of a forgotten biosphere, predating known life, or even alien in origin. The atmosphere in the lab shifted from excitement to unease as the implications of an unknown life form, isolated for eons, began to sink in. The lead researcher proposed an intriguing hypothesis. The metal dome might emit a weak but steady heat or radiation sufficient to maintain small pockets of liquid water inside the ice, microhabitats where these microbes could survive against all odds.
This energy source could have sustained microbial life through the harsh Antarctic cold, effectively shielding it from extinction. Although this idea offered a plausible explanation, it also suggested that disturbing the dome's environment might unleash unknown biological consequences. Within days, the team's unease deepened. Several of the sealed vials containing the filament samples began to show pressure changes and bubbles, signs of metabolic activity or reproduction. The microbes multiplied rapidly, far faster than anyone expected under such controlled conditions. Alongside this biological surge, rust appeared on nearby metal surfaces, an indication of chemical interactions that weren't predicted. This sudden activity caused mounting concern about possible contamination or unpredictable risks posed by the samples. During the careful transfer of the samples to a safer location, disaster struck. One of the containment vials shattered, releasing a misty liquid into the air. The event marked a turning point and heralded what many would later call the awakening beneath the dome. Within minutes, technicians observed changes in the surrounding snow, a dark shimmer spreading outwards, moving as if alive. Surveillance footage confirmed the eerie phenomenon, capturing the dark substance creeping across the ice toward the excavation site where it all began. Each pulse was followed by a sharp spike in temperature from below, reinforcing a grim conclusion. Something trapped beneath the dome was responding, as if activated or disturbed by the breach. This reactive presence was no longer dormant, it was awakening. Equipment failures and strange phenomena. As the biological and environmental changes intensified, the camp's technical systems began to buckle under strange and escalating duress. Power monitors fluctuated wildly, displaying erratic voltage drops and surges that defied typical electrical faults. Compasses spun uncontrollably in full circles, signaling massive magnetic disruptions, likely centered around the dome's coordinates. Communication arrays struggled to maintain links, and multiple drones monitoring the site veered off course before crashing on the ice. Backup generators failed without warning, plunging the camp into emergency lighting. These cascading malfunctions suggested a powerful electromagnetic force was interfering with everything in its radius. Attempts to isolate the drilling equipment or power down systems only yielded temporary relief. Once the systems were reactivated, the disturbances returned with greater intensity. Scientists faced a growing but inexplicable wave of technological instability, reminiscent of phenomena previously relegated to theoretical or sci-fi scenarios. Communications officers tried repeatedly to contact the nearby Zhongshan station, but were met only with scrambled, unintelligible transmissions. This blackout effectively severed the camp from external assistance or coordination. Analysts identified that the signal interference appeared to emanate directly from beneath the dome, hinting at an extraordinary source of electromagnetic energy hidden under the ice. The isolation added to the team's desperation, cut off not just physically, but electronically. Following the technical chaos came the first tremors, small but distinct vibrations that rattled sensitive instruments.
Soon after, a deeper, rhythmic, mechanical thudding rolled through the ground at steady intervals, sounding more like heavy gears turning than natural ice shifting. The repetitive, deliberate pulse sent chills through the field crew, who momentarily froze, unsure whether it was an ominous natural event or something else entirely. With alarm mounting, the lead scientist ordered an immediate evacuation and sent a coded emergency recall to Beijing. However, before these orders could be fully enacted, the entire excavation site erupted in overwhelming light.
A blinding flash exploded from the borehole, followed by a surge of searing heat powerful enough to melt several meters of surrounding ice and snow in seconds. The sudden temperature rise exceeded 20 degrees Celsius instantaneously, turning frozen terrain into steam and causing nearby surface layers to collapse inward. Inside the control room, radiation monitors spiked dramatically before abruptly plunging into silence. Moments later, unexpected negative radiation readings suggested an unexplainable energy extraction from the air itself. Scientists reviewing the event later called it physically impossible, a reversal of the natural order, defying all known laws of physics. The incident was catastrophic and unlike anything recorded in scientific history, from biological revelations deep within the ice to cascading technical failures at the surface. The once silent continent had begun to expose a pulse of life and energy, long buried and too powerful perhaps to contain. The official cover-up and leaks. After the catastrophe at Kunlun Station, Beijing's response was swift but limited. The Chinese Academy of Sciences blamed a natural glacial gas release known to cause sudden heat surges and equipment failure, and insisted there were no casualties or ongoing threats. Yet their statement omitted any mention of the radar anomaly, the biological samples, or the blackout that severed contact with the base. Suspicion deepened when leaked footage appeared online, showing drilling equipment, a blinding flash, and an abrupt cutoff. The video vanished from major platforms within hours, replaced by error messages. Archived fragments confirmed the footage matched Kunlun's coordinates. Soon after, anonymous emails circulated with internal mission documents describing magnetic pulses, temperature reversals, and a dome that opened itself. One file claimed exposure of microbial samples triggered the deadly surge of energy. Each leak ended with a warning: cease all inquiries. As international scientists demanded transparency, China maintained silence. Several researchers were quietly reassigned, fueling claims of a cover-up. Global media erupted after Joe Rogan analyzed the footage, questioning the censorship and pointing to Antarctica's long history of secrecy. His discussion reignited debate. Why would a gas release cause radiation spikes and a total communications failure? Two narratives emerged: the official natural event explanation and a darker theory of something ancient awakening beneath the ice. The mystery fractured international trust, casting a shadow on Antarctic research. Whether the phenomenon was geological or something far more extraordinary, the truth beneath Antarctica remains buried and waiting. The incredible story of Antarctica's frozen secrets shows just how much remains to be uncovered and understood beneath the ice. What exactly China found may forever change our knowledge of the planet. If you found this dive into the mysterious Antarctic discovery riveting, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep explorations into the world's greatest enigmas. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.